I happen to be visually impaired, but there's so many more things that make me up.
Yeah,
You know,
you're just a regular old person.
just a
like
regular
us.
person,
Yeah.
right? And that's something that a lot of people don't always understand. They kind of relegate you to this one category.
Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of our podcast.
Double shot of chaos.
We're here today with our special guest, Dennis.
Everyone meet Dennis.
Hey.
So this is Dennis. We actually met him through work a couple of years ago, and then we no longer work there, so we didn't really have any communication with him, but I started working there again, sadly. But happily, I saw Dennis again. Ran into Dennis, and Anila and I started this podcast, so Dennis was talking to me about it, and here we are today.
Yeah. Actually, this is actually the first time I've seen Dennis in over like 3
That's
years.
right.
Oh yeah.
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 Because I left our previous workplace July 22.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like the first time I've, seen Dennis in over 3 years. So it's good to reconnect.
Yeah. I left April 22, but I actually ran into him on the bus before I was like a couple of, or maybe a month before I gave birth. I ran into him on the bus.
Yeah, and like Evelyn said, like we, where we used to work, Dennis used to come and, shop there, and we would always like help Dennis out, and that's how we just started talking to Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think a month ago, I believe it was, or 2 months ago, you met Dennis again, and you told him about our podcast, and Dennis was very interested in, guest starring, and, he is our first guest in honor of our 5th episode.
Wow.
So thank you so much for being here.
You're
Yeah,
very
thank you
welcome.
for taking the time to sit down with us.
Yeah. So, Dennis, do you want to tell our audience a little bit about yourself?
Oh man.
Yeah.
Sure. I don't know where to start and where to end, but let's see. Well,
There's a lot to say.
There's a lot to say. Well, I grew up in Valley Stream, which is the town we're in right now. However, I originally came from Brooklyn with my family, as so many Valley Streamers did. And then I moved away for a number of years. I lived in Buffalo. I lived in Boston. I lived in the Bronx, the old bees,
Wow, I don't remember
Not
that.
sure what that's about. Lived in Philadelphia. I lived in Ohio. I lived in South Carolina. I lived in Arkansas. And I even lived in Romania for about 6 or 7 months.
Wow.
And then I got a job in Tallahassee, Florida, and that didn't work out. So I came back to New York temporarily, but temporary turned into permanent, at least for now. So, yeah, that's a little bit of my whirlwind history.
Well, how about we start off with 2 truths and a lie?
Okay.
Yeah. So they don't really know how it works, but it's
Okay.
basically you say 2 truths about yourself and 1 lie,
Okay.
and then both of us have to guess which one is the lie.
Oh, man. I'm not good at lying. Let's see. Okay, 2 truths and a lie. Well, I have 2 kids that actually live in the Buffalo area. That was from many years ago. And let's see, I went bungee jumping and
I feel like that's the
skydiving.
truth.
And well, wait till I'm done, Evelyn. Let me think of a lie. I really love intense roller coasters. Like, the more intense they are, the more I love them.
Okay. I don't know if you gave yourself away.
I probably
saying, let me think of a lie, but I'm going to say the last one was a lie.
What do you say, Anila?
I think the first one where you have 2 kids in Buffalo is a lie. And then the other 2 are the truth.
You are correct. See, that was a foil to catch Evelyn.
Really?
Absolutely,
Okay.
I love roller coasters. I absolutely have no kids.
Okay, I was like, maybe there's just something that I never learned about Dennis in the years that I've known him.
Yeah, it would have been something I learned about me too, if that's really the truth. Yes, I'd like to know about it. Maybe I should visit Buffalo more often. See if anyone looks familiar.
Yeah.
How was life in Romania? Like, just being
Well, that's
a
great question.
How did that come about,
man. Yeah.
actually?
Okay, so I have a friend named Gary, and he had a church out there in Romania, and he started a little college, and he asked me if I would be willing to teach in his college. And so I actually went and lived with Gary and basically taught in the little college. I taught like psychology courses, and I taught like a religion course, I guess you could say. And I taught through Romanian translators. So,
oh, wow.
Yeah, so it was pretty cool. It's interesting teaching through a translator because you basically have to formulate your sentence, and then you have to wait for the translator to hopefully translate it accurately, and then you move on to the next sentence. So it's a very interesting way of speaking and teaching.
So you would repeat what the translator would say, or
no,
you
the
would
translator
let the
translator would repeat what I would say. So in other words, like you couldn't have a very long run-on sentence because it would be hard for them to translate. So you better have your thought very compact and very concise. So then I would say something, and then I'd stop, and then he'd repeat it for the students. And I'd say something else, and he'd repeat it for the students, and I'd say something else, and that's kind of how it went. So you kind of think differently when you have to work with a translator. You have to really summarize your thoughts, be very concise in what you're saying.
I thought you meant like a translator, like Google Translate.
Oh, no. I mean a real live human being
a person.
Who speaks Romanian, because I'm certainly not fluent in Romanian.
I have arrived.
Yes. Yeah.
Took me a minute to get there.
No tech here.
Welcome, Evelyn. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, it was really cool. It was really cool. I was in a city called Constanța, which was on the Black Sea. So it was, Romania was quite fascinating. There was a huge disparity between rich and poor. There weren't many rich, actually. But the poverty was really bad. It was something I'd never experienced before.
Yeah.
When I was in Romania, they had what they called the sewer children. These were actually kids that lived in the sewer. They were orphans. And it was just awful. Like they were literally like vermin in the street. And I never experienced anything like that until I went there.
Yeah.
Well, I want to start off by saying the three of us sitting here recording was not on my 2025 bingo card.
Yeah, no.
But here we are. And I actually ran into Dennis yesterday at work too. And he told me, I asked him if he's done any other interviews before, and he said he's been on the radio a couple of times. So, nosy me, I did a quick Google search to see if I could find any of the interviews, but I actually found that, Dennis, you're a preacher.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
A preacher? I didn't know that.
I did not know that. Yeah, you left that part out.
Oh, there's many parts to leave out. Yeah, I could talk about that.
Yeah, I didn't know that. What's that? Or how did you start that?
What's up with that?
Yeah, what's up with, like, how did that
Okay, so, all right, so here's the deal. So I always had a desire to go into ministry because I like teaching, preaching, working with people. I'm a people person, and I have a strong faith. I'm a Christian. And so I actually have a master's degree in pastoral theology. So I have 2 master's degrees. I have one in clinical counseling, one in pastoral theology. And so after seminary, which is what graduate school in theology is considered, I was ordained, so I'm actually considered an ordained minister. And so even though I am a computer teacher full-time, I exercise the ministerial aspect when I do what they call pulpit supply. So I go to different churches that need someone to fill in, and they will call me up. And, I had to go before a presbytery first and to be approved. Make sure I'm not teaching, heresy or something that they would disagree with. And then basically they send you an email or give you a call and say, hey, would you be willing to fill in on this date or that date? And so I go all over Long Island, but I also have connections in a lot of places. I've spoken in a lot of places, to be totally honest with you. So the most recent place I spoke at was Bristol, Connecticut. That was in October.
I think that's the one I was seeing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, October 2025.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I actually love public speaking, preaching, teaching. That's why it doesn't bother me one bit to do.
Yeah, so I see.
I'm used to having a microphone. Yeah.
I see what you mean when you said that.
Now the question is, did you watch it?
I watched a little bit of
Really?
it. Yeah.
And you're like, that's Dennis?
Yeah, it was like it said something preaching, but it said Dennis Farro.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was
one
surprised.
and the same.
Mm-hmm.
What can I say? I'm a barrel full of surprises.
You really are.
But yeah, so I've done stuff like that. I've spoken in jails. I've spoken in rescue missions,
Wow.
homeless shelters, nursing homes, churches.
For preaching?
Yeah.
In jail? Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's actually a pretty hot spot for preaching because
Yeah.
many times people
Yeah.
are in a bad position in what they're turning to
They
God.
They changed their way of
You live a very cool life, Dennis.
He is a very busy
Compared to
man.
us, we haven't done shit in our life.
He's a very busy man.
Yeah.
How do you have the time?
You have to be able to get a lot done in a short period of time. Time management, my dear.
Mm-hmm.
That's the way to
Something
do
I'm not good at. Yeah. Terrible. You really do learn something new every day.
Yeah.
Pays to Google people.
Shout out to Google.
Well, I'm glad you found that and not like something crazy like, I found out Dennis served 20 years in Sing Sing prison or something. That could have been another interesting interview.
Yeah, it could have taken a different turn.
Yeah, really.
As we mentioned before, we met Dennis at our previous workplace. Dennis is a frequent customer there, and being visually impaired, Dennis would need assistance shopping. So I started helping him. We would always talk, and then as time went on, if I wasn't there, it would be like Evelyn or some other cashier. So that's how we met him. So Dennis, I wanted to ask you, growing up visually impaired, how was it? Like, how was your experience with that?
Well, I would say for me, I had a very good experience compared to some stories I've heard with other people. So I was mainstreamed, which basically means I didn't go to a special school. Mm-hmm. I had a social worker early on who spoke to my mom and said, we need to socialize this kid. And they put me in preschool. So I was being put on a bus at 3 years old to head off to like preschool, what we called nursery school. And I have clear memories of it. I was taught Braille very early on, which is one of the ways I read. I can read in addition to Braille now, but read Braille, of course, is a tactile language. You use it with your fingers.
Yeah.
And I was taught very early on. So by the time I was in kindergarten, I was actually reading.
Wow.
And that was a very good thing for me because it helped me tremendously in school. So what I did basically was I was in regular classes, and then 3 times a week I had what was called an itinerant teacher who would come in, and she would transcribe in print the homework that I handed into my teacher. So like I would type it in Braille. So the itinerant teacher would sight read it, and then she would write in print what I had written in Braille, and then my teacher could grade it. And then, like I said, sometimes we would do some extra things. I would step out of class for like an hour with her. Mm-hmm. And if there was something that we were going over in class that maybe she needed to go over in addition, we did that. But I was one of those kids that did really, really well in school. And so, I didn't really have any problems academically. And sadly, a lot of blind or visually impaired people really struggle through school for various reasons. They have no way to take notes. Mm-hmm. They have a difficult time, reading what's on the board, and they just get marginalized. It was, thankfully, that was not my issue. I felt very well socialized. I had a lot of friends as a kid. It got harder in high school. That's one thing I will share, because there were things that I couldn't do that other guys could now do. Play football, and they were starting to have driver's education, so I couldn't drive. So that was sort of a depressing time.
I can
But
imagine.
Yeah, so
And
that
how
was how did I cope with it?
Yeah, cope with that.
I just learned to drive. No, I'm just kidding. How did I cope? That's a good question. I isolated a lot. So I didn't go to the cafeteria, and I used to write poems a lot. And to this day, I actually write poetry. It's kind of like an outlet. And so, it's interesting, though, that during that time period, I did a lot of soul searching, and I actually kind of turned to God, which was really a precursor to everything that brought about the preaching background that I have. So, it actually was, you know, it was something that could have been bad, but it actually turned into a good thing in the end. And then, like, the interesting thing is that, like, I've gone to class reunions since then, and I realized I really didn't miss out on a lot of stuff anyway. You know, there's probably a lot of trouble I didn't get into. I mean, there was a few clubs I could have joined, but nah, in the end, that was meant to be. So, you know, sometimes when you have difficulty, it shows you what kind of character you have. You can either just like go crazy and just like rebel or just give up.
Yeah.
But I wasn't like that. So then anyway, so then I went to college, had a lot of college, and you know, grad school. But going back to growing up. So the other thing I'd like to say is that, like, because my dad died when I was about 9, there were things that I had to do to help out my family that otherwise I wouldn't have, you know, learned to do. So I mowed the lawn, for example. And my mom was pretty tough. Like, you know, I was not coddled in any way, shape, or form. And so if I missed a few spots, she would actually get on my case about it. She's like, you know, you missed 2 spots under the bush. I'm like, can you cut me a little bit of slack here, you know? But yeah, so then, yeah, I would actually get yelled at for like missing some spots. So,
Wow.
but yeah, so I'd clean the roof. I'd get up on ladders and clean the gutters out, do all kinds of stuff that.
I could barely clean my room.
Yeah, yeah,
That's
I know, right?
most than any of these kids do nowadays.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no, it was. I learned a lot of things that I just out of necessity.
Right.
So yeah, that's just how it was.
And then growing up, did you like have anyone who would doubt you or like
all
made
kinds
you
of people.
question, like, you know, just because you do have this visual impairment?
Oh yeah,
you
all
won't
kinds of
be
people.
able to do much.
Yeah, I mean, there were people like that. Like in high school, I've had teachers like that. And I remember writing this sentence down one day. We invest little in those from whom we expect little. And I remember thinking, like, this guy doesn't think I'm going to accomplish anything, you know, this instructor I have. And that's why he doesn't really give me the time of day. But I also realize that it says more about him than it does about me. Because when you find the right people that do believe in you, it makes it like really worthwhile. Because not everyone's going to see something for the value that it has. But I learned a long time ago, there are people who will believe in you. You just have to find them. They're out there.
Yeah.
And it may not be everyone. There's a lot of people who won't give you the time of day, and that's just how it goes. And it's not easy. It's very frustrating. You have to be very, very patient. And yeah, I've had a lot of people say a lot of things to me that were not very nice or not very supportive, for sure. But you have to have a thick skin, you know. And so I've learned to say, like, whatever. You don't even know me. So how do you know what I can do or not do?
Yeah, exactly.
I love that for you. And like growing up too, like having 2 brothers with disabilities, they were always told that they can't do nothing because you know they're disabled and this and that, and you know, mind you, like they're physically disabled, so they were always told, well, you can't do this because you're disabled, you can't do this, and it would always make them feel like shit, and it was very sad. It was very upsetting. But now, like, you know, now fast forward to, you know, now, and they're 25 years old, and one of my brothers, he's like a self-direction broker, and he's helping he's working and he's helping other families who have children with disabilities, and you know, he's helping them find services. And like, now me too, as an adult, I work with, you know, children with autism, and I'm always hearing, well, they can't do this. Like a lot of job workplaces, like job sites, they refuse to work with us. When I tell them, you know, I work in a school with kids with special needs, and they were like, what do you mean special needs? I'm like, well, you know, we serve kids with autism, and right away they're like, oh no, I'm really sorry, we can't accommodate you, just because I say that. So it's very sad, you know, to go through that. So I definitely understand.
Yeah. You always hear people setting certain limitations with people with disabilities, thinking that they can't do anything beyond some certain point.
Yeah, it happens a lot.
Yeah. And I couldn't even imagine, like, the time that you were growing up, it was probably worse than it is now.
This is going to sound crazy. I think it was actually better.
Really?
Yeah,
Yes.
I
feel like now things have actually gotten worse. I'm actually glad.
Really?
Yes, I feel like now you're a lot more pinpointed for what, like, you're put in a group more. you know, than it was then. And I feel like now there's more of a like, oh my gosh, if you did this, there could be a lawsuit. If you did this, the school could get in trouble. There's a safety requirement.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, it wasn't really like that. In some ways, it's better in terms of technology is much better now. But in terms of sometimes how you're viewed, it's a weird society because the more people say we believe in you, the more sometimes it feels forced to me. Like if you really accept someone, you're not even always going to focus on their differences. They're just going to be your friend. Or they're just going to be someone that you might not even think about what separates them from you. You know, it's not a big deal. So sometimes when you over focus on people's differences, I think it actually leads to more division and separation because it's easy then to see them as different from you.
That's
you know?
true.
Yeah, my mom would do that growing up with my brothers. Like she would be like, "Oh no, leave them alone," or because of their disability, she would give them that special treatment. And me, like me and my brothers were 22 months apart, and I was like, I don't care. Like I'm that older sister, so I would just treat them like any other. I'm like, I don't care. They're fine. And I'd be still harassing them till this day.
Right.
I'd be bothering them. I'd be like, just like how a sister and brother relationship is. Like, I don't see the difference.
Exactly.
And I tell them, I was like, you guys got to do it. You guys, thankfully, you guys are able to talk. You guys are able to advocate for yourself. You guys, can use your phones and do whatever. Like, there's other, people out there that can't do that. So I encourage them they're able to communicate. And I tell them, I'm like, be grateful for, all this blessings in your life, and I tell them to be independent as possible. Like I know when they wanted to work, my parents were like scared. They were like, "Oh no, like you don't have to. Like we're here, we'll take care of you." I'm like, "No, let them.
If they
you're not going to be here."
Go for it.
Exactly, and I tell my parents this too. It's very sad, but this is also reality. Like you guys are not going to be around forever, so they need to learn how to do things on their own. Because what if I'm not available and this and that? I want them to learn because I don't want them to depend on anyone. So I definitely get that.
Yeah. So like, there's a part of me that actually likes a little. I don't want to say mistreatment. That's not the right word, but it sort of likes it when someone's a little rough with me. Not rough, but what's a better way to put it? Doesn't cut me any more slack than anyone else. Here's a funny story that happened to me when I was in college. I actually had a speech class with an instructor who said to me, when you speak in front of the audience, I want you to stand right in front of this podium and turn a little bit to the right and face this group and turn a little bit to the left and turn your head. I said, fine, all right. So when I actually got up and spoke, I must have backed up from the podium like a little bit too far so that when I turned, I was kind of like facing this way by looking at the piano that was in the room and then looking straight ahead. So I swear to you, true story. I had 100% in every and there was 5 categories that he judged us on. I had 100% in every category, but he took 5 points off for poor eye contact. And people don't believe me when I tell them that story. I said, I swear to you, it's true. That's what you call like the ultimate, like, yeah, it was kind of funny actually. It's
well, I do like that you were being treated the same.
Absolutely, no, absolutely.
But the irony is
the irony is funny.
The irony is
but like, honestly, like I didn't do what he told me to do. I should have positioned myself better. So he was like, no, you suck in the area of poor eye contact.
So Dennis, I know there is a spectrum for, I guess, visual limitation, where it ranges from people who, I guess, are able to see lights or shadows or large figures, and then people who are just able to see nothing. So I did want to ask you, if you don't mind, where are you, like, on that spectrum, I guess?
Yeah, so I don't know what the technical term for what I have is. I was actually never given a diagnosis since it's from birth. But in terms of what I can see, I have full light perception. So I would see the same amount of light and dark as a sighted person. So this bright light that I'm looking at right now is very evident to me, for example. I can also see large objects and some smaller objects if they're right in front of me. So if you held your hand in front of my face, I can see where it is, but I can't make out the miniature detail of like how many fingers you have, because it looks like one little shadow to me. I can also like walk down a street and and see where the trees are versus the parked cars. I do a lot of walking. I love to walk. And so often I'll walk on streets that have no sidewalks. And so I'll walk on the left side in the street, and I can always see where there's a parked car ahead of me so that I can actually steer around it without running into it. So it's a very, very, very helpful thing. Other than that, that's it. I have no color perception. I can see people, but I can't identify faces. So to me, again, it looks like a shadow. Some things I confuse. A pole can look like a telephone pole. A fence can look like a wall sometimes. So I've gotten a few things wrong. There's a funny story. I don't know if I should tell it when I was 12, but
No, go ahead.
should I tell
Yeah.
it? All right, okay. So, typical 12-year-old boy. I'm walking down the street with a friend of mine, and I had this idea that anytime I saw a tree, I was going to spit at it, all right? And that was how I was going to mark it, all right? So I'm walking down the street, spitting at trees, and I spat on this one tree, and my friend starts laughing. And I'm like, what's so funny? He's like, you spit on this lady, and she gave you the dirtiest look. Of course,
I had a feeling.
Yeah, he could have told me, but no, he wanted to see what would happen. So, yeah, that wasn't particularly nice, but what could I say? So that became known as the moving tree incident, because she was a moving tree. Wasn't a tree at all. So, yeah, I've definitely missed a few things.
That's funny.
That's fun.
Yeah, that's another thing I will say which is also kind of interesting, is that sometimes I'll speak to someone and I'll find out later on they gave me like a dirty look, or they gave me that look that says like I really don't want to talk, and it just goes right over my head, and I just keep right on talking as if they are smiling and happy to talk to me. So it actually is lovely because you can get a lot of conversation in, and not have to feel offended that someone's giving you that look that they're disinterested.
That's funny. That's an advantage too.
It is.
But being, again, visually impaired, is there anything, or I guess any questions or things that you're tired of hearing? Or questions that you're tired of being
Where do
asked?
we start, Evelyn? Yes. I don't really get tired of being asked questions if they are sincere, but some questions feel to me like no one is thinking them through. So sometimes I get asked. I used to have a guide dog, and so I was often asked,
I
like,
remember Tara.
yeah, I had a guide dog named Tara. So sometimes people will be like, well, what happened to your dog? I'm like, well, dogs die, by the way, in case you didn't know, like they don't live forever, but sometimes people will ask it as if like I got rid of her or something like that. Here's something that I hear a lot of. This is not so much a question, but a reaction. I'll ask a direction. Hey, where is such and such located? They'll be like, it's over there. Okay, so I'll try to walk to what I think over there is. But over there might be over here. And then when I head over here, turns out that over here is not the same as over there. And they're like, no, over here. I'm like, why don't you just show me what you're talking about?
Well, just say left,
yeah, just
right.
say right.
Yeah,
So people give no directions. Or here's another one. Someone will come along and volunteer a direction that is inaccurate. They'll be like, oh, sir, you got to go left. I mean, go right. And I usually turn to them and say, well, this is why I don't listen to people. All right? Because one day I'm going to be on a subway platform, and they're going to be like, okay, sir, go left. I mean, go right. Here I go off the platform. Yeah. So.
It is too late now.
Yeah, too late now. As I hit the third rail.
Oh no. The electricity rail.
I'll be like, you know what? I never should have listened to you. So yeah, I get that a lot. I used to get, and a lot of blind people get, people who speak extra loud. I haven't seen that in a while, but that means that like they think you're hard of hearing as well as hard of seeing. So they're going to talk like super loud, just in case you have like every disability known to man. Another one that I've seen a lot is a waitress that if you're out to eat with someone else, the waitress will talk to the other person and they'll say like, what does he want to eat? What would he like to have? Like, as if I'm not there. Mm-hmm. So I will often respond in the third person as well. I'll say, well, you know what? He would actually like to have a cheeseburger if that's okay, and maybe fries. And I think he might want a root beer or something like that. You know, and it kind of makes her feel like a little silly, like, okay, I guess I could actually talk to this guy directly.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of a weird one. I think it's an eye contact thing, but I've seen that happen quite a bit. What else? There's just so many. My gosh.
I just feel like as the time goes, like there are people out there who will always be ignorant.
Yeah.
And then the best thing
Yeah.
we can do is just to educate them.
Yeah.
You know, and just like it's like even me, like being around like my brothers who have had a disability, and then as an adult working with
Yeah.
you know children with disabilities, like it's just I feel like even now I still have a lot to learn about a lot of things. You know, like I'm not this expert on autism or cerebral palsy or whatever.
Yeah.
It is.
I mean, there's always new things to
there's
learn in
always
any
new things
Yeah.
to learn.
And
you
some
know?
people, you're right, some people will actually catch on quickly, and it's just a matter, they haven't been around you enough. And then other people just kind of never really learn. I don't know what it is. They just have a bias,
Yeah.
and they just can't get past it. I've had people I've known for years, and they keep asking me the same questions. And the thing is, like with blind or visually impaired people, they're just as different as anyone else. They're very varied. Some of them are into certain things. Some of them are into other things. So, like,
Some may be shy, some may be
I actually
outgoing.
get tired of blindness questions
Yeah.
sometimes, because I've been in settings where that's all they're interested in.
Yeah.
It's like I have a personality beyond all that. Like I see myself as I happen to be visually impaired, but there's so many more things that make me up. You know,
You're just a regular old person.
just a
I
regular
guess.
person,
Yeah.
right? And that's something that a lot of people don't always understand. They kind of relegate you to this one category.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they kind of make that subject all about, like, all that you are.
Yeah,
basically.
exactly, right. Like you're the expert on visual disability, which
Yeah.
I would have to say I'm not. But
And like piggybacking off of what you just said, in the beginning of this episode, we were playing Two Truths and a Lie, and you said something about how you've been bungee jumping, which is the truth.
yes.
So, in addition to bungee jumping, are there any like more adventures that you participated in, and how was your experience with that?
Yeah, well, I did allude to this. I actually did go skydiving, which was an interesting experience.
Yeah, I remember him telling us about that.
Yeah. I've done all kinds of stuff. Parasailing, I've done
Hot air ballooning.
hot air ballooning. I tried. Thank you for reminding me of all the things I've done. I forgot. Helicopters, I've been in that. I've been in a lot of small planes.
He's been to all 50 states.
I've been to all 50 states. I've been to about 21
Wow.
countries.
21 countries, 50
Yeah.
states. Wow.
And so I've been very fortunate in my life. I love to explore. I love to get lost. That's one of my favorite things to do. Me and a GPS, getting lost in a new city is like a toy for me. Because it's like a big jigsaw puzzle that I have to figure my way out of. And do I get afraid? No. It's like an adrenaline rush for me, actually.
Wow, that's really
So
cool.
I like putting myself in precarious situations.
Wow.
That's sort of like a thing I like to do. Not to be crazy, but just to explore. I just have this voracious interest in learning new places and new people and things like that. Like to ask a lot of questions too.
Yeah, that's
I
pretty
can't even
great.
get on the rides at Six Flags.
I know, she's too scared.
Yeah, I'm still cool with
terrified.
Six Flags.
At what age did you start traveling?
That is a great question. Well, I mean, I would say I started traveling extensively probably around 20. Because like before then I wasn't away from home that much. I mean, I traveled with my family to summer camp. I always went to camp. A lot of blind people go to camp. I went for 1 year to a camp that was largely physically impaired. And I would say about 80% of the campers were in wheelchairs. Well, one day I was playing with a stray wheelchair that didn't really belong to anyone. And there was no one else left in the Arts and Crafts Center. But a counselor came along, and as many of them did in that camp, say, hey, do you need a ride? And I said, yeah, I do. So she pushed me all the way across camp to my cabin called the Lodge. And when we got to the bottom of the ramp, I snapped off the seatbelt and I said, thanks for the ride.
Got up
and walked
away.
up the ramp, left her with an empty wheelchair. And I would love to have seen the expression on her face.
That's a funny one.
Yeah.
So, Dennis, what was the first country that you traveled to?
The first country outside the U.S. that I traveled to was Canada. And as many Americans do, it's the closest foreign country. So I had an opportunity, actually on a hike, even though I went to a camp for the blind, they took us on some really intense overnights. In fact, 2 different summers I climbed 2 different mountains in Vermont. I climbed Camel's Hump. I climbed Mount Mansfield. We went all the way up to the summit. And this is something I hadn't been exposed to as a kid growing up in the New York area. So it was quite a challenge, but it was a lot of fun. And there was something called the Long Trail. And the Long Trail actually led into Canada. So I remember standing on the border with 1 foot in America and 1 foot in Canada. And that was really cool. There was nobody there asking for passports or anything like that. It was just like this spot in the middle of the woods.
Yeah.
Do you feel like being visually impaired was like, an advantage or a disadvantage?
I would say it's both. It's a very hard question to answer because I think when you're visually impaired, you alternate between being treated like at times like royalty, like, oh my gosh, let's like bring out the royal treatment for this guy and make him sit in a special seat. And so I've been treated like that, like getting VIP treatment, to
the complete opposite.
Where you're like the scum of the earth, and you're kind of like seen as a lesser than. So it's a very weird situation because you kind of learn to be both, or both seem familiar to you depending on the context. So yeah, I mean, the advantages are that sometimes you get special perks. I probably have met more people than most because I interact with the public a lot. I'm also not particularly shy, which is a good thing. Sometimes I've been in situations where they just give you a pass for whatever reason, like not because you ask for it. Sometimes I've been on the Long Island Railroad, which is our local railroad here, and the conductor will just like walk right by, like, okay, he doesn't have to pay. And I'm like, okay, like didn't ask for it, but if that's the perk, yeah, exactly. So it's really interesting how you definitely get treated very differently from person to person. But there are definitely advantages and disadvantages. I would say one of the disadvantages is that I've always wanted to drive. Driving is something I'd love to be able to do. That's a disadvantage. Being able to find someone in a crowd who I'm looking for, of course, is difficult. And sometimes there's communication issues that develop. Someone might be quiet, but it doesn't mean they have a smirk on their face. I might perceive them as upset when they're actually smiling. They're just being quiet. So sometimes there's misinterpretation of situations that I've gotten into before, where I just didn't understand what was happening because I didn't have the full picture.
Right.
Like not being able to understand social cues.
Yes, exactly. Not being able to understand social cues is right.
When it comes to special treatment, do you like the special treatment, or do you view it as like, I'll take it, like with the Long Island Railroad?
It depends, honestly. Sometimes, I'm kind of divided on that one. Sometimes I'm in a situation where I don't mind it, and then other times I really hate it. For example, let's give you a real life example. Getting on the bus, coming back from work. I take the N4 bus, which is our local bus.
It's pretty crowded.
And sometimes I might be talking to someone and enjoying the conversation, and someone's like, oh, no, you must get to the front of the line. You're special. I'm like, no, I'm going to wait in the line with everyone. I'm talking to my friend. Like, why are you bothering me? Then other times I'm like super tired and there's a crowded line and someone's like, here's the front, and the bus stops in front of me. I'm like, shoot, you know what? Who cares? I'm just going to get on the bus. So I think it really depends. Sometimes I like the perks. And then sometimes if I feel like it's going too far, I don't like it, I think most disabled people want to be treated the same as everyone.
Right.
They're not looking for special treatment.
They just want to be treated
But
the same.
if you want to give me special treatment, how long can I fight you? That's the way I look at it. Fine, whatever.
Yeah.
Wow. I feel like you've, like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you lived, like, this amazing life. Like, I've, you know,
It's been very interesting. I like the fact that it's different than most people that you meet. I kind of do like that. But I grew up with this desire to be taken seriously. If I can share one other story.
Yeah, of course.
So I had a cousin in school with me. He was very well respected because he was a rough dude. He was the kind of kid that like would not waste any time in like picking a fight with someone. He was very strong, and he would just knock you out if if it came to that. So he used to come to me, and he used to say, "Dennis, is anybody bothering you?" I said, "No, Gary, nobody's bothering me." "You going to tell me if someone bothers you?" I said, "No, I'm not going to tell you because I'll fight my own battles." I don't need you to fight my battles. One day, he's like, "You got to give me a name." He was just looking for someone to pick on. All right. I said, "Fine." So I thought of like 2 years back where we used to have these rock fights when I was a kid. So, that's what boys do.
Rocks?
Yes. We used to love rock fights. It was so much fun. That's a whole nother podcast in itself, which I'd love to share.
Maybe, yeah, we'll have you on another time.
Some of my warmest, fuzziest memories are from rock fights. But anyway, so I remember like there were these two kids that were giving me and my friend a hard time. So I told my cousin these kids' names just to get them off my back. I had nothing against them. Could have cared less, really. So what did he do? He broke one kid's jaw and threw another kid down the stairs.
Oh my God.
So after that, I assure you that absolutely nobody bothered me. But you see, I wasn't looking for the perk, you see. In my mind, look, I'll fight my own battles. I don't need you to defend me. So I've always kind of been like that,
Right.
But it got to the point where I was like, all right, fine, here's a few names. Do what you want.
Broke his jaw.
Wow.
Yes, he did.
Was he okay? Or?
No, he had a broken jaw.
No, like, I mean...
He was not okay.
No, I know he was not okay,
I
but
think
did
he was
survive?
far from okay.
I don't know.
Did he survive?
You don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know if I want to say this on air, but one of those kids died like 20 years later. So like I don't know if he got like hit in the head or what happened, but Gary was a rough guy. Like he had friends in jail, and like he was one of these kind of guys.
What age was this?
What age was he? Oh! How old was I? Like 7th grade. He was like in 8th.
Oh my God.
And had friends in jail?
How's Gary doing now?
Gary's doing fine. He's like a husband. He's got kids.
Aww.
Yeah, he's out of that phase now.
Okay, good.
Yeah, he's doing okay. Not all his friends made it, but
In my head, I'm picturing like some kind of mob guy.
Yeah.
well, kind of there, kind of there.
All right.
So
So we would like to thank you, Dennis, for
Sure.
being our first guest on our show.
Yeah.
And for sharing these amazing stories with our audience and with us.
I'm pretty sure you have a lot more stories,
Yeah.
and maybe we can have you on another time
Yeah.
to continue sharing.
Yeah.
Another time, I'd love to hear 2 truths and a lie from you guys.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
we
yeah.
didn't share ours.
Yeah, we didn't share ours.
Mhm.
So definitely we'll do that. But thank you so much for
You're
being
very
here
welcome.
and taking
Yeah.
the time out.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah.
And this was our 5th episode with our special guest, Dennis. And thank you guys so much for tuning in and listening to all these amazing stories that Dennis had to offer. And yeah, just make sure you guys comment, subscribe, like, follow on all our social medias. It's down in the description.
Mhm. Would you like them to follow you, Dennis? Do you have any?
Do you have any
Um,
social
they can
media?
I
find
do.
you?
I have Facebook. I have an Instagram account which I don't use, so
No.
I probably should get that moving. But welcome to send me Facebook friend requests.
So we'll add Dennis's socials in our
Facebook,
description.
Yeah.
So you guys
That's
can follow him and
Yeah.
connect with Dennis as
But
well.
thank you so much for your
You're
time,
very
Dennis.
welcome.
Yeah.
I
It
know
was my
you're a
pleasure.
very busy man.
Yeah.
It was
You
fun.
have a lot on your plate. Yeah.
All right. And then we'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you guys for watching.
All right. Bye.
Bye, guys.